Welcome back to Drinking by My Shelf. My name is Emma and this is the On My Shelf book tag. This is a tag that's like 7 years old at this point. I think that the originator of the tag is Ian Broom, who no longer makes videos, but I will link to his original video below. I actually saw this one on a Clockwork Readers channel, again, years ago, but I finally decided to do it. Basically, I got you guys to send in coordinates which are going to point me to certain books on my shelf. I've done quite a few videos like that recently, but this time it's very simple. I'm literally just going to tell you the story of that book, why I have it in the first place. I have no idea if this is going to turn out interesting because I love the idea of it, but I feel like in reality, every book I get to, the story is just going to be, I thought it sounded good. But let's hope we get some fun ones in there. Okay, Shelf 3, Book 7. I'm holding too many things. This is Shelf 3. Ah, of Murder, Muses and Me. Okay, I do know why I have this one. I bought this book roughly this time last year, actually more like June last year. And this was because Jacaranda Books and Knights of, which are two indie publishers, had teamed up to host a fundraiser that was supporting diverse independent publishing, and I thought it was great, so I donated to that. I never got my free bookmark. I just realised I was supposed to get a bookmark for donating. I don't know what happened to it. Anyway, I also then went and had a look at Jacaranda and ended up buying a bunch of books from them, and this was one of them. So this is a murder mystery. It's quite like ridiculous. I enjoyed it, but not quite as much as I wanted to enjoy it. But I would still recommend it for kind of cozy crime meets slightly ridiculousness. Okay, next, 322. So we're staying on shelf 3. 22. Okay, this is Akin by Emma Donoghue. So this is one, I work for the publisher of this book, so I got it from work. I got this one basically because I love Emma Donoghue. I've read a ton of her books. I think she's fantastic. And one of the reasons that I keep picking up more of her books is because she is an author with such range. Like, you just don't know what you're going to get. Every book is really different from the one before. This one is her second most recent, so her most recent is called The Pull of the Stars. It's about a pandemic, and this is her one before that called Akin, which is about an old man who suddenly ends up having to like temporarily foster his nephew, his great nephew, who's like estranged, and it's a pretty sad story, but it's very sweet. And he had been just about to go off on a trip to France to kind of research his family history, and he ends up having to take this kid with him who is very troubled and sad, but they form this very sweet relationship. And yeah, I loved it. And I have this particular copy, even though this isn't the particular copy that I read, because I read a proof of this book, and at some point while I was reading it, I cut my finger very badly on this light up here. You can't see. The light is actually shattered because I smashed my hand through it, and I bled a lot. Like, I was fine, I wasn't badly hurt, but fingers just bleed a lot. And then at some point after that, I was reading this book. I had a plaster on and everything, but it just started bleeding again and bled like all over the pages. So there was really nothing I could do with that. I couldn't like donate that book to anybody with blood all over it. So I ended up having to recycle it. And anyway, I ordered myself this one from work because this is definitely one that I would like to read again. 620. Oh my god, it's Shopaholic Abroad by Sophie Kinsella. So the reason that I have this one is because I did a 24-hour readathon. The first book in this series, Confessions of a Shopaholic, or The Secret Dream World of a Shopaholic, it's known by both titles, was a book that I absolutely loved. When I was 19, I got really bad glandular fever, also known as mono, and I was in hospital for a week and then like off uni for a whole month. And while I was in hospital, I was in so much pain the whole time, and the only thing I could use to distract myself was listening to the audiobook of Secret Dream World of a Shopaholic, and I absolutely adored it. And then I had also listened to the audiobook of this one, number 2, but I never quite got into it as much. So yeah, I decided to read the whole series for a 24-hour readathon, and had very, very mixed results. Number 1 was still fantastic, still a very soft spot in my heart for that one. I did also really enjoy this one, Shopaholic Abroad, but they did quite quickly go down in quality in my mind, and I actually didn't finish the series because I ran out of time, and also because there's no way in hell I'm going back to that nonsense. I realised I didn't decide how many of these I'm doing, so I'm just going to keep doing it until I get bored. and you can keep watching until you get bored. So great teamwork. Okay, 6-3. Okay, lol, this is a funny one. So this shelf that I have here, all of these shelves, these are all books that I have read. All of my TBR books live on my trolley, which is just out of shot down there, but you've seen it before. And then when I've read a book, if I rate it 4 or 5 stars, or sometimes like a 3 stars, but something that I think I will want to reread, I keep it. It goes onto these shelves. If I DNF it or don't like it, I donate it. It goes to charity. It goes on to somewhere else, finds a new home. This is one of the very, very, very few exceptions of that. This book lives on these shelves, even though I haven't read it. And it's literally for the most shallow reasons. So I bought this book because I really genuinely thought I would love it. This is by Jonasson. It's called Hitman Anders and the Meaning of It All. And I have absolutely adored Jonas Jonasson's first book. I think it's his first book. The first one that got really famous, which is The 100-Year-Old Man Who Climbed Out the Window and Disappeared. I think that's just one of my favourite books of all time. He then wrote another one called The Girl Who Saved the King of Sweden, which I didn't like as much, but I still really enjoyed it. And then he wrote this one. So I bought it very excitedly, but Archie read it, and my sister read it, and both of them, I think, possibly DNF'd it, but if they did get the whole way through, they just didn't think it was very good. They recommended that I didn't need to read it. So by my own rules, I really should have passed this one on, but the problem is they go so nicely as a set. They all have matching covers, all of the 3 that I had, and since then I've also bought the Further Adventures of the 100-Year-Old Man, and they all look really good as a collection, so I just can't quite seem to bring myself to get rid of this one. But also the fact it's living on there and not on my TBR trolley means that I have in my head given up on reading it. It's a paradox. 9:19. Oh look, 2 people in a row put 9:19. Lol. I don't have anything very interesting to say about why I have conversations with friends. My mum actually gave me this. This used to be her copy. She didn't really like it, so she gave it to me, and I did like it. I thought it was good. I liked this one, and I liked Normal People. I don't quite have the Sally Rooney fierce passion obsession that some people have, but I thought it was good. Moving quickly on. Next we have 8:25. This is The Housekeeper and the Professor by Yoko Ogawa. This is a book that I absolutely loved, and the reason I have it is very random. I had done, 2 years ago-ish, or a year and a half ago, I had done a booktube video. I can't remember which one it was. I'll have a search and then link it below, but it was something about reading habits or how your habits have changed from booktube. And one of the things that I said in that video was that I used to love just going into a bookshop and browsing and then just picking up things that looked interesting to me, but ever since booktube and also being in publishing and just being more involved in the book world and which books are being buzzed about, I very rarely just randomly picked up books anymore. I would always pick up books that I had heard of, books that I'd heard people talking about, books that I was interested to see what the buzz was about, rather than just discovering something for myself. So I decided very deliberately to go into a bookshop and just pick up books that I had never heard of before. And I chose 2 books. One of them was called Trust Exercise, and I had a very complicated review of it. It's the one you might remember if you've seen a lot of my videos where I said I couldn't decide if it was a 2-star or a 5-star, but either way, I don't have it anymore. I decided it was a 2-star, I guess. But this one, The Housekeeper and the Professor, I picked up just because it had a pretty cover, and I gave it 5 stars, and I adored it. I think I was drawn to it because it's about memory loss, and I love books about memory loss. It's about a professor who only has an 80-minute memory, and then the housekeeper who works for him and the relationship that they develop. 7:21. Ooh, so this is Everything But the Truth by Gillian McAllister. I have read all of Gillian McAllister's books. I even have a video where I talk about her books as a collection, but it's quite an old video, so it doesn't include her 2 most recent. But anyway, this is her first one. And the reason that I have this, the reason I came across her as an author at all, was because I did an interview. So back when I was writing for Bustle, I interviewed Claire Mackintosh, who is another thriller author who I absolutely love. I did a phone interview with her for an article, and I asked her what books she had recently been enjoying, and she mentioned that she had really liked reading this book. I think she's even blurbed on the back. Yeah, she is. So because I love Claire Mackintosh so much, I was really intrigued to see who this Gillian McAllister was, who Claire Mackintosh was such a fan of, and so I looked her up on Twitter and saw that the publisher was asking if anyone wanted a proof. So it was the first time, because my YouTube channel was really small at that point, it was the first time that I felt brave enough to just message a publicist and say I would love that proof, but I gave it a go and it worked, so you know, you should try it. And they sent me this proof, Everything But the Truth, and it began a lifelong, or at least 5 years long so far, journey with Gillian McAllister's books. Okay, I think maybe let's just do one more, and I can always do this again sometime. So the last one is going to be 317. I'm sorry to everyone else, there's so many. That was literally just like the first, how many have I done? 7, 8, and they're still coming in. So for the next 24 hours, I'm so sorry to all of you, I won't be using them. Okay, what did I just say the last one was? I've lost my place. It was 317. Oh my god, this is such a good one to finish on! This is the October List by Jeffrey Deaver, and the reason that I have this book is because my sister is a goddamn angel. So for my birthday, years ago, I think it was my 25th birthday, she gave me the best present of all time ever. So my birthday is on the 16th of June. So on the 16th of June, she gave me a stack of 6 individually wrapped presents. And they each had a label with the month that I was supposed to open them. So the first one I was supposed to open on the 16th of June, and then the rest of them I had to wait and see. So on the 16th of June, on my birthday, I opened this. It's a novel called The 16th of June by Maya Lang. To be honest, I can't really remember anything about the story or what it was about. Like completely forgotten. Maybe I should read it again. But it was called The 16th of June, and that was very, very exciting. And then I just had to wait until July when I opened the second present, and it was called, I don't know if I still have it, it was a book called 4th of July Creek. In August I opened this one, The First 15 Lives of Harry August. Do I still have September? The one for September was just called September. I don't have all of them anymore because I've done like big book sort outs since then. But anyway, then in October I got the October List. And November, the book was called November. It was a poetry collection. And then December, I got One Day in December by Sebastian Faulks, which I do still have. No, I don't. I don't still have it anymore. Okay, but anyway, that was my present. So it was a 6-month long present, which was fantastic, combining everything I love, books, getting presents, and making my birthday last forever. And this one, the October List, is really fun because it's a crime mystery story but told backwards. So every scene that you read happened like immediately before the one that you just read. So you're going, the lighting just went crazy in here, sorry about how I probably look like a ghost now. You're getting further and further back, closer and closer to what started this whole story, and then the twist is going to be at the beginning instead of the end. It was great. It was really, really fun. So that's the reason I have this one. It's because my sister is a goddess. So there you go. That was the on my shelf tag. How many books have I got here? 8. That was the story of why I have these random 8 books. And actually I was surprised that I had, for the most part, actual stories I could remember about why I had them. I wasn't sure if that would be the case or not. So if you'd like me to do this again, let me know, and I've still got so many coordinates from you guys, so I can just use those coordinates. Oh my god, I'm dropping everything. I can use those to do some more another time, but in the meantime, I'm going to go and have my lunch now. Goodbye!
Ran into you at the drugstore, you were picking up your prescription. It's funny 'cause